amidst the field of St. John's wort, spring is here and our medicinal cabinet is opening up. It's red in our own backyards, my friends. I am going to be showing you some medicinal plants that are popping up right now in the south where I'm at, in Georgia and Tennessee. But I know shortly in the other states, the Pacific Northwest and in the northern states, spring will also be coming and the medicinal plants will also be blooming. This is God's perfect timing during this flu season, this virus season, this corona season. And we have everything that we need to treat these viruses. Everything. And just starting here with St. John's wort, when you are really getting sick with the symptoms of COVID-19, you may not be able to sleep, your appetite may be poor. St. John's wort is good for those symptoms. It's also good for anxiety, and it's also good for depression. All of these plants I'm going to show you can be dried and made into a tea. So let's go for a bike ride and I will show you the medicinal plants that you can find right now pretty much in your backyard that can treat COVID-19 and all the other viruses that may be flourishing during this season. Now, if you don't recognize that, this is blue violet. And actually, I was prescribed a blue violet tea for my immunity. And right now, the blue violets are everywhere in Georgia. So here you go, some free medicinal flowers that can be dried and made into a tea to boost your immunity. Look very closely what this looks like. That's blue violet. These little daisy are called chrysanthemums, and there's a whole field of them over here. And this medicinal flower is actually good for fever, colds, and headaches. But also it helps with diabetes, insulin resistance, and high blood pressure. This very powerful little daisy actually has a medicinal effect on the blood flow. It actually increases the blood flow to the heart. So this is a magical, magical flower, and it increases the blood flow to the heart. When you have angina or chest pain, it actually can help. So this is a natural way to actually treat chest pain and to help lower your blood pressure and increase your insulin sensitivity. It helps with diabetics. So chrysanthemums, beautiful field of chrysanthemums. See? God is so wonderful in everything He makes. You remember these as a kid? This is called a buttercup. But this is a powerful medicinal flower also that doesn't just have medicinal purposes in the flower, but also in the leaves and the root. Actually, it's antispasmodic. It's used for rheumatoid arthritis. And you can actually make it into a poultice and put it on your chest when you have colds to relieve chest discomfort. The flower and leaves also are used to treat headaches. So instead of taking Tylenol or an ibuprofen, you can actually crush these flowers and the leaves and sniff them, and it will address your headache. So again, this is the little buttercups. Remember those? We used to put them underneath our chin. Very powerful. And here's another fever and cold remedy. This is white clover. You can make this into a tea and infuse it and drink it for your cold and your flu. The leaves also can be made into a tincture and used for gout. And ouch, gout is painful. And this can also be used as an eye wash. But don't forget, many of these medicinal herbs can be eaten. I have recipes for white clover pudding, white clover cookies. Sounds good, doesn't it? So, white clover. Well, there's two other medicinal plants on my route here, and it's really hard to see, but clambering in most of the trees in Georgia and Tennessee are these very invasive, and they call them weeds, but they are called Kudzu. And they scale up the trees, and they're green, and they're just starting to pop out here. You really can't see them. But the kudzu is actually a medicinal ailment for people who are fighting alcoholism, and it helps them detox. And when I talked to Mary, who is one of the lifestyle instructors, and she's the director, she's got a very strong background in medicinal herbs. She says it really does work. The other flower, and I don't know if you can see this, but these beautiful purple lilacs that are hanging, and they're everywhere right now in Georgia, are called wisteria. And wisteria actually is a Chinese herb, and the Chinese use it actually as a delicacy. They take it, cured in sugar. Not so good, but this is fascinating. And it is made, it's mixed in with flour and made into a delicacy called tang lo. And the wisteria flower and the stem and the seed actually does have some medicinal value. The seeds are actually used as a diuretic. But it's gorgeous right now because in Georgia you see the wisteria all over the place. So one last thing before I go, when you're cutting your lawns, and I've seen many right now, don't cut the dandelions. I'm going to leave you with this. The dandelions are very powerful. I drink dandelion root tea. It's very expensive. And now that the dandelions are out, I'm going to be digging up my own dandelions and making my own tea from the root. It's very good for your immune system, very good for cancer. And dandelions have very strong medicinal purposes. So you see, there are an abundance, even along this little road trip that I took with my bike, medicinal plants and flowers that you can eat, you can make teas into, you can make tinctures into, you can make poultices into. But that is the short list on this wonderful bike ride today. So remember, viruses can be fought, and it starts with nature.